answers from you. He said, listen to me. When I answer all of these scholars in their own language, from their own books, then the person worth seeing will be Mamoon himself and not me. One of the times, Mamoon organized a debate with the Jews and Christians, Zoroastrians, and all other different faiths that he had known in his time, to come and debate with Imam Redha alayhi salam. Now, while he was organizing this debate, he told all the people who were always surrounding the 8th Imam not to inform the 8th Imam that Mamoon is organizing a debate. So the Imam would not prepare himself for this grand debate that he is organizing against the Imam, thinking, if I don't tell him, he will not be prepared, and that's how I will have him defeated. The day came, the Jews, Christians, and all the different, the chief rabbi and the archbishop of the Christians, the Catholicos, and all the different major religions, the biggest of their scholars came with different scholars from their own faith to debate with the Imam al-Islam. And the whole court of Mamoon was filled with all of these scholars. When he became pleased that yes, the biggest of the scholars have come with their books, he asked for the Imam to be brought into the court. So he sent for the Imam. He said to one of his office bearers, he says, go and tell our crown prince, Ali ibn Raza, to come and debate. The person he had sent off to call the 8th Imam al-Islam was a follower of the 8th Imam al-Islam, was a Shia, but was not so strong, but he still believed in the Imam al-Islam. So he was very worried, came running to the Imam al-Islam and said, Yabna Rasulullah, O son of the Holy Prophet, Mamoon has called you to the court. So the Imam said, he's called me to the court and you are worried? What's the worry for you? He said, Mamoon has organized a debate for you. And there are all of these learned scholars from different faiths, from Jews, Christians, Zoroastrians, Hindus, and whatever you can think of, all the different faiths. They've come to debate with you. The Imam said, are you unsure of my knowledge? He said, no, Maulana, I'm not unsure about your knowledge. He said, then why are you so worried about this debate that I'm going to be having? He said, Maulana, I don't doubt your knowledge, but these people who always go into debates, they will twist around the things so much so that they will try and confuse you to get wrong answers from you. He said, listen to me. When I answer all of these scholars in their own language, from their own books, then the person worth seeing will be Mamoon himself and not me. You will need to see how he looks when I answer all of these learned people from their own books in their own languages. He said, now I want to ask you one question. He said, yes, Maulana, what is your question? He said, why do you think that Mamoon has organized this debate between me and all of these scholars? He said, Maulana, if you want to know the truth, he wants to degrade you. He wants your followers to think that you're not so worthy. He wants your followers to think less of you. He said, that's what I want all of my followers to know. He's not sincere with me. He wants to degrade me. He wants to disrespect me. He wants all of my Shias and all of my followers to have less respect for me. That's why he's organized this debate. Now the Imam al-Islam started walking. And when the Imam al-Islam was walking, the Jalal and the Haiba of the Imam al-Islam, the grace and the majesty of the Imam al-Islam, the nur on his face, and the light in his body when he was walking to the court, as if all the walls were saying labbaik to the Imam al-Salam, as if the earth was kissing his feet, as if the heavens were saying, Maula, come and take your place and answer the questions and tell the people what an Imam is like when Allah sends an Imam. The Imam al-Islam walked into the court, and he would always sit on a pulpit, on a mimbar, and never on a throne. So he sat down on the mimbar, the Imam sat down, and Mamoon said to the Imam, he said, Yabna Rasulullah, O son of the Holy Prophet, some of these people have come to ask you some questions. Not that I have invited them to debate with you. He said, some of these people have some questions they want to ask you. I hope you don't mind. They're in large numbers. The Imam al-Islam sat down smiling. He said, fine. Do you all wish for me to start your debate? Do you wish me to ask the questions, or do all of you want to start asking me questions? So all of those people said, is that how confident he is of his own knowledge? That he says, you can ask me a question or I can ask you a question. So they said, Yabna Rasulullah, son of the Holy Prophet, we are so many in numbers. And we wish you to start asking us questions. So he said, okay, I'll start with the Christians. So he turned to the Christians because they had a problem with Tawheed and others as well. But here, the Christians believe in Trinity. Tathlis. They believe in Hazrat Isa to be the son of God. Ibnullah. Isa is son of God. So Hazrat Imam Redha alayhi salatu wassalam. He turned towards the Catholicos, the Archbishop or the Pope or whoever they had called him at the time. Catholicos, as they've mentioned. Usquf-i-Azam, the Archbishop. So he turned to him and he said, I believe in Jesus. I believe in Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. He was a prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him as a messenger. He was a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Servant, not son. So he was a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah sent him with great message. Allah gave him a book. Allah gave him a lot of powers. But one thing Hazrat Isa was short of, he was weak in performing his namaz and roza, his prayers and his fasting. As soon as the Imam al-Islam said that Hazrat Isa was weak in ibadat, in namaz and roza, the Catholics couldn't take it. He said, who has called you the alim of the Muslims? Who has called you a learned person? Have you not heard that Jesus never slept in the night? He was always doing namaz. He was always praying during the night. And he never ate anything during the day. He was always fasting during the days. So the Imam turned to him and said, so you admit Hazrat Isa used to do the salat and som. So you admit that he used to do namaz and roza. He used to pray and fast. He said, yes. He said, then tell me, what is prayer and fast? He said, it's an ibadat. He said, prayers and fasting are ibadat. They are a service to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whoever serves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.